And good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show, and this is Catherine Tyson, your host. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this afternoon. Let me tell you, this is Thursdays. It's generally Success 101, but we will be talking about Success 101 type of stuff because we're talking about success, and we're talking about our country, and we're talking about voting. We're going to be breaking it down in this show. So tell your friends, tune in. We're going to be streaming as well. And I'm just quite excited about that. That was such a great song that brought us in. Let me upgrade you.
Hmm.
Upgrade you. So good afternoon and welcome Ruthana Young, who's in the house.
Hey, always happy to be back in the studio when the opportunity arises. And Lord knows it is silly season, which makes it all the more interesting. So I am happy to I'll be here for about 45 minutes. I got to dip out at about 5:45, but I'm hoping we can kind of jam as much stuff and much conversation and political analysis into
Well,
that time.
well, I sure hope so, and I know that we got the gift of the gab, so we won't be there won't be any lack on chatting. And if you
No,
want to join
ma'am.
the conversation, 9433700, do give us a call or straight talk at star 927 kman.ky. Would love to hear from you. The thing about it, right? Today we're going to be chatting about politics.
Hmm. My favorite
Politics,
conversation.
everything, right? Because it is something else going on out there. I heard a big speech the other night. I don't know if it was sponsored or something. I heard somebody was going to lay in the street. Please get off the streets. Do not lay in the
That was the
street.
action, man. That was
Do
action,
not put
man.
your life down. I was like, I will put my life down.
He sure said it. He sure said
He
it.
did. I
Yeah,
heard it. I heard it. I
I
was
heard
like,
it.
what is happening? So it's that time. It's
Yeah.
it's getting serious. People are taking, their future in their hands. And I hope after all of it, I hope, and it probably is this way anyway, that everybody can just be friends. That everybody can just get along because there's really a lot of mischievousness going on
Oh,
during this time.
we can cross our fingers and hope and pray.
Let's go back to the time when we were friends, people.
But
Okay,
it's getting ugly though.
it is.
It's getting pretty nasty
Let
out
me
there,
tell it
unfortunately.
is things that I did not think I would see happening. I see people are defacing other people's, signs. Stop
Yeah,
that.
that's
That's
that is
madness.
unacceptable.
Do not vote for them if you don't want to, but keep your hands off their property. That is, if you're caught, you're going to be in trouble.
Hmm.
And so, police that are, they're picking up a lot of speeders these days. Y'all need to drive around a little bit, 2 o'clock in the morning and see who's doing that because that's just unnecessary.
I agree with that. We can all have our own different political views and our candidates that we favor. And you may know, we're 2 weeks out. I mean,
Yeah,
we live 13 days
yeah,
at this stage. So
yeah.
most people, I'm sure, know where they're going to mark their X. I'm sure there's some undecideds waiting to be convinced over the next 13 days.
Right,
So it's,
right.
the groundwork is at a fast and feverish pitch at this stage. But there is no reason or excuse to be tearing up people's signs and
Absolutely.
throwing things on people's signs. I get it. It's emotive. Like,
Uh,
trust me, I drive across some signs and feel very emotional as well.
you know what? But hey, people are doing what do they call it? They're their democratic right. They
Yeah.
are throwing their hat in the ring and they've decided I want to run for my country and I want to give myself a chance. And listen, it's really up to the voters. And I think like today, I really did want to be focused on that, to kind
Hmm.
of hone in on that, right?
Yeah.
Uh is it that we are taking this thing, so serious when it comes to being on the streets, but yet when it comes voting time, you either don't vote or
Hmm.
you go vote the same people back in. You know what I
We
mean?
have a bad habit of that as a country.
Yes,
We
yes,
do have a bad habit of it.
yes.
However, I am hopeful.
Yeah. And not to
I am
say,
hopeful.
that some of the people that are running again do not deserve another chance
Correct.
because we want to
We
make
have some
sure
good
that
apples in the
yeah,
bunch.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's really about where are we going? Where are we going? And how are we going to get there? Right?
Well, and on that note, I find that there are some commonalities coming out of I feel like everybody's mouth. I and not that it has every season has its kind of emotive topics, but I'm realizing that there are those kind of handful of things that every candidate realizes is on the top of the minds of just about every single voter in this country. Housing being
Right.
right there, cost of living, everybody's having to share their viewpoint on it because like voters are to the point where they are demanding finally,
Right.
in my opinion, saying, I need to know what your position is on this matter.
Yeah.
And education, that's been 2 or 3 decades, on the top of people's minds, but it is here yet again. I For what you've listened to, and I have my opinion on this, but I'm going to ask you because
Okay.
from in terms of education, what do you think is going to be the possible change or not in education based on what people are saying, the candidates? Do you think we're going to have any kind of change?
Uh, I don't know.
Mm,
I'm not sure. In fact, I don't hear a lot about education.
mm.
Um, uh, what's funny is when I hear people that had the opportunity to be education ministers before, when I hear them talking about education, it's kind of funny to me. It's a little humorous.
It is.
So I because I just hope and pray if you get that again that you do that thing that you're saying
The thing that you said you were going to do when you said you
because
were
you
going to do it.
were the minister before, and like and
Hmm.
that's in any area. So if you've
Correct.
already had an opportunity to be in and you were with a particular area, and the thing that you're talking about right now
Hmm.
wasn't done at the time, then I'm just a thinking person. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking sounds good.
But.
But my problem is when someone hasn't been given the chance
Hmm.
and they tell me they're going to do something, they still have a chance for me to prove something to me. But
Hmm.
when you've had the chance and you didn't do it, it's kind of hard for me to really sit down and listen to what you're saying and go, you know what? I believe this because you were there.
And you had your opportunity
So
in that
so
area in
what I'd
particular.
like to hear then is what you did.
Hmm.
That's what I want
At
to
the
hear.
time when you had
Tell
the
tell me what you
opportunity.
did because I think that to me is your opportunity more than anything to sell me. To sell yourself back to me is to tell me what you did because I might have forgotten.
Correct.
But don't tell me you're going to do something that I think you should have done then and you didn't do it.
And from education, what I think the common thread that at the very least, there seems to be a call or realization by candidates for in what many are referring to as integration of the school systems. Meaning, right now it is very segregated, where it's largely I would venture to say 99% Caymanian students in the public schools, and then expatriate students going to all the private schools, and that is the segregation that people are referring to. And I am certainly a believer that when you are able to mix nationalities and people from different socioeconomic backgrounds and all that within the school system, if you learn to integrate in school, it makes it that much more normal to integrate in the workplace,
Right.
right? And I think that that's where a lot of our separation as a country is partly coming from.
Yeah.
We have some other underlying issues, which in
Yeah.
itself could be 10 other shows.
Right. Well, I'm hearing that a lot though. I'm
Yeah.
hearing that a lot. The integration. I've heard
Hmm.
that, and I like that. I
Yeah.
really do like that part of it because. And here's the only here's one of the main reason I like that part of it is because I believe we're such a small country and we don't get a whole lot of larger world experience, right? And exposure, but yet we have to compete on an international level in our own country.
Correct.
So you can't have me backward, right?
Hmm.
Competing against somebody that has a larger view when I haven't even, left the rock,
Correct.
right? And someone else is living somewhere else. So when you are able to bring other nationalities into the public school, which is what I grew up with,
So did I.
right? And being exposed to certain things. Like I learned about college through people talking about college.
Yes.
I actually went to Cayman Islands High School and then I went to Triple C and everybody was going to college. And I was like, what is that? Well, I'm going there too. My mother was like, we can't afford nothing. And I was like, I think I'm going to go.
Yeah, everybody else going,
Well,
so
I
I'm going.
heard, I
It gave you
heard
something
it.
to aspire to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I was able to, like, I mean, something so simple. I learned. I tasted black olives for the first time in my
Mm,
life, because I had friends that were from Canada. Do you
yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that may sound simple, but it's not. It's an absolute opportunity, to open someone's world, to not feeling like, well, that tastes bad. Well, I don't know what that is. Well, I can't go in there. Well, I can't say that, because now here we
Yeah.
are competing for jobs with people that know how to walk in and speak and know how to, conduct themselves and know how to be professional at 14, and you're
Yes.
24 and you're not as professional as somebody who is at a private school, family is from someplace else,
Hmm.
and you're 24 and you're not able to. It's nothing wrong with you.
Hmm.
What's wrong is the system now, because things have changed. The system needs to try to accommodate you and facilitate you getting that world knowledge when you're
Correct.
not leaving the rock to get it. So that's, I believe, the integration is a good idea for that. So that might be the change that I'm hearing,
Yes.
and I don't know what actually needs to happen. Why it happened in the first place that it became segregated.
Well, it is said that it's uh essentially an infrastructure issue, right? Because the law has generally always indicated that Caymanian children are prioritized in the public school than the children of those on government contracts, and those sorts of things. And there's an order in which you are allowed to. However, our own population has grown so much that we have been seemingly unable to accommodate the a lot of the expatriate population within the public schools. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
and I completely agree with that. So yeah, lots of things happening, lots of changes. I wanted to chat a little bit about who's where,
Mhm.
right?
And how
Okay.
we got five people in one
Well,
constituency.
don't be talking to me about that. That's what happened to me last time. why why are you trying to hurt
I
my
was
feelings?
blown.
Why are you
I'm
bringing that
telling
up?
you.
Listen, I was involved in that fiasco last time, and that was one of the reasons. And I was like, no, I'm not trying to do that to myself this time, because that's insane. But literally, it was five people in the South in
Hmm.
2017, and I'm telling you, that was the most craziest thing, because maybe I think maybe two of those people might not have, maybe didn't need to go in, or you
Hmm.
know what I mean. But it
Correct.
was like, I'm coming through. And so when things like that happen, it really does kind of confuse the voters, right? And so the voters are now like, okay, I really like this person. I think
Hmm.
this person would be good too. But so why don't we think about it and talk about it? Don't you think like that would be a good idea as
I
well?
think as long as we have a relatively small population and our population is still relatively small, those kinds of conversations are increasingly important. I am happy that there are a number of critical races, in my opinion, that are head to heads, which meaning only two people in those particular races.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, you have no, is it what? That's Georgetown.
Is it West? No.
I
It's
forget. I don't have it in front of me. Where the incumbent is the Honorable Roy McTaggart.
that
Um,
is Georgetown
yes,
East.
Georgetown East.
Right.
That is one. That's the constituent. I was surprised. At the end of the day, I was like, wow. There ended up with being five candidates in that district.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's start in that district
Okay.
then. So we have so like you said, the Honorable Roy McTaggart. Okay,
Yes. Who's is the incumbent?
who is slated to be the next premier,
Correct, because he
by
is
all intents and
the new
purposes.
leader of the progressives.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. How's that looking?
Um, I think it's going to be an interesting race. I do believe that you have a number of newcomers, right? So you have Emily DeCoux, who is in that constituency, definitely
Young lady,
young,
young, threw her hat in the ring. No one kind of knew about the
political
political
aspirations.
aspirations, but she's there. She sounds very dynamic, sounds very
Correct.
passionate about our country.
Hmm.
Um,
Dr. Frank Macfield
Dr. Frank McField, everybody
made
knows,
made the shift in that
right?
constituency.
Because before he was in Red Bay.
Correct. He ran in Red Bay in the
Yeah.
last election.
I wondered about that. I wonder what made him, make that decision, because I think, yeah, Red Bay was where he ran last time, and he was very adamant about that, going up against the premier at the time.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, he felt very strongly about that. He felt like, let that be my legacy, that I'm gonna run, I'm gonna give it my best shot. And he
Yeah,
was a minister before.
he was.
He was an MLA, member of parliament,
Yes, now that we're at
and we
MPs.
remember him. He's, I worked under him for some time, actually,
He stayed very
um,
active in
when he
social
created the
discourse.
housing. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's a sociologist, psychologist as well.
Correct.
And so I think he has some great things to his record.
Yes.
And then there, you know, there are some moments there as well that, you know what, just like all of us, right? So
Yes.
just kind of being honest here
Yes.
today.
And he's a very complex thinker. I think that I have noticed a shift in how he's communicating with the public and realizing that he has to be able to make people identify with what he is saying. And of course he generally will look very high level and detailed into the issues that we're having. But having interviewed him in the studio in the 2017 cycle, seeing him now in the public space, I believe that he is a lot more conscious about, most of the time, about saying, okay, let me make sure that I am helping people connect to how what I'm saying is that, affecting their life.
Good stuff. That's
Yeah.
good stuff. Now, Emily Decaux, same constituency.
Hmm.
I think I really, it seems like it's a fresh, a
And that's the
freshness that
feedback from a lot of
you could
people.
bring that youth and
Yeah.
just talking about just the possibility of any of them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mr. Or the Honorable Roy McTaggart, nice man, great,
And
great man,
that's
good
most
guy,
people's
really good
sentiments.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
most people's sentiments. It's like, I like him, but
yeah.
then there are those who say, I like him, but.
It's the party thing. I
Hmm.
think there are some people who have an issue with the party. And then on the other side, the party is very adamant that they're not able to, a country is not able to achieve what it wants to achieve when there's so many different, different opinions. And so one party is able to achieve, the promises or
Hmm.
what the country needs because there's a concerted effort, and so there's less opposition in the
Yes.
house. So there's that side of it. I'm just
Hmm.
kind of trying to be
Well,
fair and kind of analyzing the whole thing.
right. And to touch on that, and that's been one of the choruses, I think, on the current alliance party
Right,
government. I don't know.
right.
We refer to them as no. The alliance argument is that
Well, I'm driving along in my car and I'm just dragging some people along. Come on, get in this car, guys. Come on.
yes, the alliance, the
We
the
can
the
do
slate
more
of
together.
candidates for the progressives and the
And some
alliance.
might have been tired of running by them, just running alongside the car. So they're like, "Oh, can I get a ride?
Yeah, let me just get
Thanks."
in here, right? And I think for them, they're preaching continuity of governance, as well as the importance of the team.
Do-
The
Go
Go ahead.
ahead. You know the problem I have with that? The problem I have with it is
Hmm.
when you were a part of a team before and then you left the team and now you're back on the team. I
Hmm.
got an issue with that. Now, people,
Listen.
I am just speaking, like I said, it is straight talk today
Hmm.
because that is my issue. My issue is you were a part of a team. And I think if we do some research, we can find that
Absolutely.
most of the peoples was a part of something and then they
Mm-hmm.
left the something and then they went, oh, I was on my own. I'm independent now and I'm not with the
Mm-hmm.
something, but now I'm back with the something.
Yes.
Hello.
Yep. And I ain't signing up for it.
Pick a
Okay. I
lane.
can tell you
Can
what.
you just pick a lane for me? I'm
I ain't
not
signing
saying
up
which
for it.
lane. I'm not
Yep.
telling you which lane.
But pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one. And I
So
don't I
that's
don't
my
so much
issue.
mind when people are with one something inside they switch into another something.
Yeah.
Right? That's I'm okay with that. You may realize that the ideologies over here are in
Yeah.
better alignment with you. But I agree. I can't respect anyone who just, it seems as though
Yeah.
what you're doing is for political expedience, or and
Yeah.
just kind of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to ensure my win, no matter what I have to
Yeah.
kind of do in the process.
Well,
So
if
that
that's
says a lot to me.
yeah, if that's the issue, that's not good, is it?
Correct.
And if the issue is wishy-washy, that's not good either. And that's it. Like I want to be able to trust you. Like be whatever it is, just be that thing.
I tell people
Okay?
that all the time, and I,
So
Catherine.
well, I say that to people
Woo,
too. You don't have to like me. Like you don't. Just don't pretend that you do.
correct. And
Because I'm okay with you not liking me. I'm a great person. I'm
mm-hmm.
being the best person I can be every day. I sleep well at night because I know I tried my best and
Yes.
I ask for forgiveness and I'm going to try my best tomorrow. But if you don't like me, that's cool. But
Yeah.
don't act like you like me. That's my problem with wishy washy.
And that's like, my sister will ask me all the time, how you can be friends with that person, or how you can talk to that person. I'm like, listen, as long as I know who you are,
Right.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Just put yourself on, just put
I'm
yourself out for
good.
display. I can get along with anybody if I know
Yeah.
that I'm not talking to the representative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just,
Right.
yeah, just like, if I
Right.
know that, if I know
This
you are
is
selfish,
you.
or if I know you're whatever, okay, I
I
just
am
know that,
right where you are.
yeah, I can deal
Yeah.
with that. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer to just know who you are, so that I can deal, like, I can our relationship can
Yeah.
evolve according to who we both are,
Yes,
right? So I'm good with that.
and so that's my problem. So if
Hmm.
you happen to be somebody that's kind of seeming wishy-washy, you have some explaining to do. Just go ahead and explain to me. Explain to all of us, please. That's all I'm saying. Because we don't want to think you're wishy-washy if you're not.
Hmm.
That's kind of what you're looking like. And that's my biggest problem. So there's been a couple of surprises to me that's like, huh?
Well,
Hi, what are you doing?
I think in at least one instance, the little wishy-washy behavior might have handed that race off
Well,
to someone
we
else.
shall see.
I
So it's still in the
Mhm.
East now.
Yeah,
Christina Rowlandson. I was
yeah.
listen. I almost got knocked over by a feather. First of all, when I saw her name, but then I saw her sign. This beautiful
Mm.
orange sign, and
I haven't seen the
I know
signs yet.
Christina.
I know
Christina is
her mom.
lovely.
I know her mom.
Of
I don't know
course,
her very well. I know
of
of her,
course, Miss
to be honest.
Mary. And
Yes,
yeah,
I know
listen,
her mom very
she
well.
and I traveled together. Or yeah, we traveled together for some hurricane conference or something. Oh, quite a long time ago. Were attached to cabinet office together. Lovely young woman, like really
Hmm.
smart.
Mm.
I mean, so smart. I literally was so surprised because I did not even imagine that she would be interested in that. But let me tell you, smart young woman,
Well,
smart,
I'm learning about her today.
yeah,
Yeah.
very smart. Has a lot of great ideas and great thoughts, and you know, kind of that force to be reckoned with. Where
Okay.
you don't she's small, she's
Silent
quiet.
Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. But
Okay.
don't count her out, type of thing.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting. I love the fact that these two women have thrown themselves in the middle of this thing,
Agreed.
surprisingly, but it doesn't mean that you know like I said, you to count them out because it just means so much. It means that you have allowed young women to see you as the example
Absolutely.
and go, wow,
Absolutely.
look at you. You're doing that thing. You're standing up and you're putting your foot forward. I like that. I
Absolutely.
like it.
Absolutely. And there is something to be said for you know people who will say, listen, I need to be the change. And I think that's what I've generally heard from both Emily and Christina,
Right.
in that it wasn't that these are two persons who've had lifetime career aspirations. It was, there are enough things that I am not happy with in my country. And at some point, I'm going to have to make the choice to be a part of what
Right.
I hope the change to be, as
Absolutely.
opposed to just saying I want this to change.
So funny. I saw a young lady over the weekend when I was actually getting my hair braided
Hmm.
in the salon, and she came and she said, "Catherine, why are you not in this race? Like, I can't believe it. Like, I was so devastated. I was like, why aren't you in the race?"
If
And
I had
she,
a dollar every time somebody asked me that
yeah, and I
question.
said that. I said, "Why aren't you the race?" Because by the time she finished talking, I was like, "Girl, you need to be running." She was like, "No
Hmm.
way, no, never, not me." I was like, "No, no,
Hmm.
yes, yes way." And so I said, "Let's do it next time." She's like,
Hmm.
"Oh," I was like, "Let's do it
Well,
next time."
you know what? You know what? I will say that I've had up until today, and in two occasions, the conversations surprised me because there were women who said, listen, we need 19 female candidates
Thank
in
you.
2025.
Thank you.
There are a lot of women who are about to like
Right?
shatter some
Blow
glass.
blow the lid off of that pot. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
I know we're trying to tackle 2021 right now, and we got to hopefully get that right.
Yeah, but you
And
better be thinking down the road.
yeah, and I see far more female candidates
Yeah.
emerging in the 2025 race.
And you know why I think it's so important to be thinking about that 2025 race? Because when people just pop up a month before, or people just pop up, 6 months before, and they start like now they're doing the most. You get the turkey
Hmm.
on your doorstep. I got one after Christmas. I don't know who it was from. Thank you.
Well, I will
And
say I've been voting since I was 18. This year was the first time I got a turkey for Christmas.
I got me too.
I've always heard about this stuff.
Me
And
too.
I literally, I've
Me
heard
too.
about it. I literally have never,
No.
ever, ever, nobody fix no offense to me. Like,
Well, that's why I'm saying thank you for the turkey
yeah,
because it literally was on my doorstep, and I was like, "Who left this? What's
yeah.
happening?"
And
I
I, and
I
to
thought it
be,
was my mom couldn't make it inside the house, so she just put it by the door.
yeah, and to be honest,
That's funny.
I don't have any grand problems with, elected officials or political candidates doing nice things for the people in their
I just want one
constituency.
every Christmas
Well,
then.
that's
Stop
it.
playing with me.
That is my thing.
Stop playing with me.
Come visit me every Christmas.
Where's my turkey?
Listen, I cook. I like to cook, especially during the holidays.
Right.
Do you know? Like, I would love
Exactly.
for my MP to show up around Christmas time. Like, listen, I give you
What you cooking?
cookies. I give you some
Yeah, that's
conch. I give like
right. That's
because I believe
right.
that in my if I could have my ideal world, that is the relationship we should have with
Right.
our MPs. We are still a small
Right.
community.
Right.
Most of these constituencies, minus Cayman Brackville, Cayman, East End, and North Side, you're talking about maybe 1,200 people. In some cases, of 14. Some of them are inching in that 1,400. Like,
Right.
I know Georgetown Central have, as of the April 1st roll of electors, 1,411 voters.
Right.
And I know that much. And there's some, I think, that bridge on the 1,600. But yet, like, despite all of that, if you are committed, if you are organized and focused, you can visit us all during the holidays.
Right.
Like, literally, like, and every holiday we will. And if we know that that's what we expect of our MP, like,
Yeah.
we'd be
Or
prepared.
you know what?
I
Or
wrap a gift. I prepare you
yeah.
a plate of food. I would love
Yeah,
that.
or even have something in a central place in your community. Like have something. Like really, like when I see all the tents going up and I see the
Mm-hmm.
family fun days, why don't you do that, once a month or maybe you do that 4 times a year,
Catherine,
every quarter. And so if I don't come out to it, then that's my choice, but I know
you
you're
did it.
going to be there. So what I'm saying is and I'm very careful. I'm always very
Mm-hmm.
careful because I know for me, I'm not walking to 1,300 homes. I'm not. I can't. My foot cannot manage it. But I want to talk to 1,300 people.
Yes.
I want to talk to the 700 families. So what I'm
Yes.
saying is, why don't you do something like that 4 times a year? And it's where you can meet me. You can come out to see me. I can come to see you. I can choose not to, but I can't say you didn't give me an opportunity.
Correct.
And you're there from morning to the afternoon when the children are jumping in the bouncing castle. Don't just do it around this time. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
if you're doing that, who can complain in your constituency that
Correct.
you're not available?
I want to add something to that, and I'm gonna share a personal recent experience last night, right? And yes, it was a political meeting, so I now am a registered voter in Newlands, right?
Yeah.
I am new to living in the Newlands community.
Right.
I've been there on called a year now.
Right.
I went to a meet and greet at in Newlands Village, hosted by Wayne Panton.
Right.
I took my daughter with me because I do so many things, and I'm like, oh, if I can take her, great. And it said it'd have activities for the kids. I'd never been to this park before in my life. Like, shout out to Newlands. There are so many great parks and stuff in, like,
Absolutely.
Newlands is actually a really nice community to live in.
Absolutely.
I have to say that.
Yes.
And so there were like stations for, like, there was for the big kids, like Jenga, and I forget that game that, like, I haven't seen in years. We have the little thing that you pop the dice in the middle, like it has a little thing where you press it and it flips the dice in the middle,
Yeah.
and
What is
I forget
that?
what it's called. And then there was a station where kids could do like a painting project with Cara Julian. And they, food, and the park is like it reminded me how important green spaces are and places to gather for the community and what it does, because I met so many people in that community itself, because that Newlands Village is its own little community, because you have those pockets, right?
Right. Right.
And Elisa, my daughter, she sat, and it was a bunny project, right? And it literally was a little piece of 2x4. They painted, you drew the ears, and of course she cried and fussed when I tried to help her draw her eyes and all that kind of stuff. But she met another little 2-year-old kid that lives in the neighborhood. I was able to talk to her mom, and there was the gentleman who was there taking doing photography. He looked like he was just volunteering to and just taking maybe something he does. And we stood there and we talked about that, and it was like, he said, I wish, and you could hear, he seems he's Caymanian now, but his accent clearly indicates that he's not from like wasn't originally born here. And he said, this is so nice for the kids. He's like, I wish these things happen not just during election time. And so my hope is that moving forward, and because I see a few of those activities happen, but I just thought it was such an incredible experience. I stayed for about an hour and a half, there just socializing and helping Elisa and listening to what Wayne had to say, because me, like everybody else, I got to mark my ex, on
Right.
election day.
Right.
But just the way that it brought families together, I think that is some of what we have to focus on within our individual communities, that they can
Absolutely.
help facilitate, but I don't put it all on them,
Right.
right? As ways, because I think that some of the issues that we have as a society is based on the fact that we're so separated and
Right.
we're all in our little house and
Right.
not, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
that was incredible.
Yeah, and that is incredible. And speaking of Newlands,
Mhm.
we'll finish up Georgetown East, and then we're gonna run
Yes.
to Newlands.
Yes.
We're gonna take a quick break though, and then we'll come back. So just hang on. Before we take that break, let's just talk a little
Yes.
East, Georgetown East.
Yes.
Richard Bernard
Yes.
was in the race before.
Okay.
What?
See,
Yes,
I I
Maskin. I'm
I
not
I
sure. I
I I
think
I
so.
I don't know him, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
he's not
And
someone that
and what
I am
what
familiar with at all.
And what I had asked on the air, and I tried privately to just get like
Mhm.
information about them that I can talk about them, because I
Mhm.
really do want, if I'm going to talk about this one, let's talk about that one so that everybody
Correct.
can kind of hear, oh, okay, that's what this person did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just to be introduced. All right, so that's Georgetown East. You are listening to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at Five show. I'm Catherine Tyson, your host, and you were listening to Ruthana Young, who was your host. You're
I'm
not
happy to be
you're
sitting in for today.
you're not confused. You're actually hearing these two women. One was the host and one is the host. So if you were wondering if this was
What's going on?
backward day, we're just getting close to Easter and we are talking about politics. So if you're enjoying the conversation, please do not change that dial. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Straight Talk. Oh, welcome back to Straight Talk. This is your Straight Talk Drive at Five show. Catherine Tyson, your host. And we are talking with Ruthana Young, who was the host of Straight Talk for 3.5 years. I know you guys missed her. I miss her all the time. And I ask her how often
She
I call
she
her.
does. She does. And I'm gonna have to make more time. I'm gonna have to make more time to come and sit and shoot the breeze and straight talk like more often. I know. Like it's
Trust
not
me.
for like I mean, it's a blessing that I real estate and stuff is quite busy for me.
Busy.
So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times showings are in the evening. So if I prioritize that, but
Yeah.
I will do my best to make myself more available, to come on the show. I'm gonna do my
Yeah.
best. I'm
Oh,
gonna do my
for
best.
sure. No, I call her regularly. Sometimes she doesn't even answer me. Sometimes she's like, I am not available. Come on. So today was just a
Yes,
really great opportunity to bring you on, because I know that politics is a thing that's very close to your heart. It's close to my heart.
yes,
Obviously, the running of our
yes.
country is close to our hearts because it's really about our future, isn't it?
It is. It's not even about today. It
No,
is
it's our
literally
future.
yes.
It's our children's future.
And this is what I
It's
listen.
everything.
I had a conversation. I've had two recently, actually. Um, on separate occasions, two fathers who are fathers to Caymanian children and not originally from here. And on both occasions, now thankfully, they are both now registered to vote. And but you asked him about politics, and it was, oh well, I don't really pay attention to it, and da da da. I'm like, Listen,
Right.
understand that what happens in this 2021 election,
This is your future.
yeah, and like you have Caymanian children.
This is your future.
Yeah, like you are helping make decisions for them, and sometimes you have to show people that it is not just about 2021. It is about the Cayman that those Caymanian children are going to come and find, and that is something I am super super passionate about. You
Right.
know?
You have to be.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah.
to be. You have to be invested in your country. And I think that that has been the problem for so long. And not just in Cayman, all
Mm-hmm.
over. Because even in the US, it's a problem where people think that it's someone else's doing. Like, oh, let them vote. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even bothering. You know what? I'm not interested in any of them. And so I'm not going to bother.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you don't have to be interested in any of them. This is
Mm-hmm.
the point. You don't have to be interested in any of them that are running in your constituency. But at the end of the day, one of them will win,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them will be counted amongst the 19 that will run your country.
Yes.
Your country that you are a part of, that you are the recipient of the good stuff and the not so good stuff, the improvements or the lack thereof.
Yes.
So even if you don't like any of them,
Mm-hmm.
you still need to find out about all of them in order for you to be able to have a say when it comes to what happens in your country.
And
It's
it's right
not
around the
about
corner.
liking people. You got 13 days, like literally. If you have a voter's registration card, you find yourself on election day
Down to the polls.
down to the polls in a line and putting
Mark a
down your
X.
X somewhere.
I'm gonna be there
But
early o'clock.
before you do that, go Google people.
Mm-hmm.
Go look them up on Facebook. Go look them up on social media. Listen to what people are saying. Because if you listen long enough, sometimes you can kind of see through some of the stuff.
And listen to what they're not saying, like when they don't show up to debates.
Well, if they don't show up to
Okay?
debates, like that's
Like that.
already like a little
Mm-hmm.
insult. And if they do show up to debates and they're rude to each other,
Mm-hmm.
okay, pay attention to this too, people, because I this is
Yeah.
the stuff that really I watch. When they're petty,
Mm-hmm. And there's a difference
when
between
they're
defending a point and being petty.
no, being petty, you're there to defend your point. You're
Yes.
trying to get a seat. But when you're petty, when you're rude, when you're insulting, when you're ridiculing, when you're doing all that stuff, like just think that person wants a seat to run your country.
Mm-hmm.
That person wants to represent you on a national level. They're sitting there being rude and petty and insulting and
Mm-hmm.
ridiculing. Like, excuse me?
Worse when they behave like that and also don't have really any solutions to offer or seem unattached and don't understand the issues very well. That to me is
Well,
a far greater problem.
there's such
Yeah.
a thing as just basic professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
basic decency.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not even basic manners, if
Yes.
you don't even have that, then I'm sorry. I have an issue. I have an
Yes.
issue. So
Um.
taking pot shots and don't just
Yeah.
take it don't just get the information that you're getting on the people that are making fun of them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get that.
Yeah.
See them for yourself.
Yep. And as I mentioned, I do have to leave in like 2 minutes, right? But I just like a few things that I just kind of want to knock out the way.
And the
Number
name of the
one.
game is Trouble, by the way. That's
Oh
Siobhan
yes,
Hyde
that's
wrote that. Thanks,
right.
Siobhan.
Trouble, that's right. The one little pop little dice in the middle. That
That's
was like
right.
the teenagers were having so much fun with
Trouble.
that. I used to play that and I couldn't remember for the life of me. Years I hadn't seen that game.
Trouble. There
And
you
like
go.
Jenga, what a fitting name
Right.
for them West Bears.
Right.
Oh Lord, West Bears, what you gonna do down there? I don't know what I'm gonna do on election day. I don't know where. I don't know where I'm gonna station
Get
myself.
confused.
I feel like I'm gonna drive to and fro everywhere.
Yeah.
I,
The bear excitement.
but I tell you what, like
You
I
got
will one shout out before I go.
yeah.
So I did an endorsement in Georgetown Central for Kenneth Bright on his launch meeting out by Kirkholme Center parking lot. Listen, Georgetown Central
Ruth Ann up in here
know
dropping names.
how to have a party. Like they know how to have a
Well,
party.
yeah.
It was wild.
Lit.
I
No, the young people
listen.
say lit.
Lit. I had to tell them. I said I thought we knew how to have parties in West Bay, but Georgetown Central had the whole place fired up. Like
Wow.
It was incredible to stand on that stage that night. And I'm
Look at
like,
that.
what y'all gonna be like on April 13th? And furthermore, what you gonna be like on April 14th?
They're not gonna know what to do with this. That.
Georgetown Central gonna have a parade through the street. I can
Yeah.
see it right
Well, it was
now.
a big scandal last time. It was a big old thing. It was
Listen, it
amazing.
gonna be a big thing this time too, but for a different
It
reason.
seemed like everybody's child had won. It seemed like kind of had belonged to
But that's
everybody.
it, and that's what I said. Like one of the strong points for Kenneth Bryan is that he gives people hope. That no matter where you come from in Cayman, what your background is, he is a representation that any and every Caymanian, man, woman, boy, child, girl, whatever you are. And I said that, like, that's an example, even for my daughter, that no matter what your life circumstances are, you can be and do whatever you want to be with enough commitment, enough tenacity, enough drive, and certainly with the right supporters behind you. Because I tell you what, Georgetown Central know how to have a party.
Right.
But on election day, before I go head out to Georgetown Central, like I had to check out what my people in West Bay doing and what we got going
Oh,
on
it's
down
gonna
there.
be something.
That Red Bay race gonna be hot, hot,
Well,
hot.
prospect.
Listen,
What about Prospect? So we
listen.
got Prospect. We have down in Prospect. We have Austin Harris, who is
Mm-hmm.
the incumbent. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we've seen him for 4 years, and we heard him for 20 years before that
Yes.
on the airwaves.
The hair included. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
Yes.
because you took over after
Correct.
him.
When
Yeah,
he put himself forward for election,
yeah,
yes.
and he had been. Do you remember how long he had been here?
He'd been here about two and a half
About two and a
years.
half, but he
Yeah.
was at I think
Crosstalk,
Crosstalk for like
yes.
10 years almost or
Correct. Yeah.
something.
He done,
Yeah,
over a decade in radio.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's down there in Prospect. They're getting ready for one scuffle because Michael
It
Miles
is.
is getting his gloves on,
It is gonna
and
be
then
a
you got
scuffle. That's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm.
Sabrina Turner, who is taking no prisoners whatsoever. I passed the other day, and she has a sign. I don't know if that's her yard, but it is her office. She's like, "Come on in."
Yes, she I
It's
didn't go, but I know she opened her
well,
office.
it's 2 seconds from MacRuss, so
Okay.
it's literally like you just turn down that road, and it is like, "Come on in, want to meet you, want to talk to you."
Yeah, you can tell that
So
she's certainly built up a lot of traction down in Prospect. I
yeah,
know I don't know her close and personally, but you can tell that, through the community efforts and stuff, she certainly is known in the community and is picking up a lot of traction in the political race. So it is going to be a scuffle. I am going to have to run because I am going to Toastmasters, and I know that one of the cardinal rules of
it's
Toastmasters is
not to be
don't be
late.
late. So
Well,
I'm
it's
going
just
next
right
door. I'm
down
going
there. You
next
could.
door to the library.
What
So
time you to start? You said.
6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. We've
Six
got time.
6 o'clock. Listen, girl, I
We've
was
got
running. I went to the gym this morning. I went to the performance lab this morning. My legs are like,
right.
oh my god, like little wobbly jello.
Yeah.
But it was good to be here. Certainly, if as
Thank
much as I
you.
can make it back between now and election day,
Absolutely.
I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm
Yes.
here. I'm
Trust
here. I'm
me.
here. I will do my very best. But as always, great to be here. And
Absolutely.
you'll rock out for the last 13 minutes or so.
I'm gonna have to
And
do it. I'm
but we
gonna
will
keep.
catch up again at least a few times
All
between now
right.
and election day.
I'm gonna
Happy
keep
Easter,
talking a little bit.
everybody.
Thank you so much, Ruthana. That was Ruthana. She has now, I would call it, left the building almost, and just really giving her take on what is happening out there in the community. You guys know she's very much interested in the whole political uh kind of political environment, or and I trust one day I had lunch with Ruthana, and I said, Ruthana, I hope one day you are going to be throwing your hat in the ring, because I believe that I just had lunch, or breakfast or lunch with a future leader of this country. I honestly, I felt it in my bones, and I felt that the country would be so beneficial, to have her. Absolutely, right? And I might have used the right word. I don't even know. But let me tell you, I really felt that. And so it was really nice to have her in here kind of talking about that stuff. I definitely want to be looking at the elections in the next 13 days, just really chatting about it. Obviously, we're going to have a few days off before we come back. Straight Talk will not be on tomorrow, as usual, Friday, but tomorrow is Good Friday. Happy Easter to everybody. Happy Good Friday to everybody. And then, of course, the weekend. And then on Monday, which is Easter Monday, we will not be on again. So we won't be back until Tuesday. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, we're going to be chatting. And then the following week, and the following week then is elections. So I would love to have the opportunity to really just chat this thing up, do some straight talk about some of our constituencies and some of the issues. And of course, would love for you guys to join in on the conversation. 9433700. Would love for you to, you know, feel like you can call and make your opinions known. But I do understand if you feel like you can't, because this is Cayman and people are listening and who that is? Well, that would John. Oh, no, no, no. He said this about so and so. We need to stop that first of all, but we know that'll happen. So send it to me at Straight Talk, right? Let's see, Straight Talk at star 927. Straight Talk at star 927 kman.ky, and it will be anonymous. I will go ahead and ask your question or try to find the answer for it and get back to you. Okay. Definitely. All right. So just mentioned Georgetown Central. We have Kenneth Bryan. I'm just going to run down who's who and who's where. Kenneth Bryan, who is the incumbent, up against Frank Cornwall. All right, two guys of the soil. Definitely, very familiar with the area, and you guys very familiar with them. And if you are not, go ahead and do some research. For Kenneth right now, he has a 4-year track record that you can go ahead and look up and pay attention to. You can look him up not only on Google, but you can look him up on Cayman News Service, Cayman Compass. You can go ahead and, I mean, just search up, all the information, and then you can make a good decision about these people, right? Same thing with Frank Cornwall. Anyone who's putting themselves out there, obviously, there must be a way that we can find out some more about them or find out where they are so that we can go and sit down and talk with them. A lot of them have offices that you're able to, you know, whether it's make an appointment or find a way to get some information about them. Lots of flyers running around the place. And that was another thing when Ruthana was here that I wanted to touch on for sure are the flyers that go around during election days or election times. Why aren't those flyers going around the regular, throughout the 4 years to keep us informed of stuff? So if something is happening in our neighborhood or something is happening in our country, like a lot of us are asking, well, when did that happen? Well, I didn't realize that we couldn't do that. Well, who closed that? Well, when did it? When did this occur? So why aren't we using ways to communicate with each other? I'm very concerned right now in this country that we don't have like a regular news source via the television anymore because we don't have our local television. And I think we have like once a week news, like the Compass is once a week now. And you can go online and you start going online. If you don't have a subscription, you can't read anything. Like I think that is a little bit very interesting. So I think for one, we need to start really, um, finding ways for us to get our information in order for us to know what's going on. So why not with these beautiful flyers, our little postcards that's going to people's houses? Why aren't we trying to make more of an effort to keep people in the loop? I think this whole kind of silence, lack of information is, I personally don't like it. It's not fair to me as a citizen of this country. I don't just want people making decisions on my behalf and I don't know anything about it. That would be nice, that they're doing things and I'm benefiting. Yay. But I'm an adult. So why can't I learn about it? Before you do things, even with your children, you talk to them and you keep them in the loop and you don't just make decisions about their life and then just expect them to trust you. But even if you did, they're children, but we are adults. So why aren't we able to get more information? So that would be one of the things that I definitely have a big issue with. All right, going down really quick. Georgetown West, we have as the incumbent David White, of course. We also have Kenrick Webster. We have Elio Solomon, who was an MLA, and he's thrown his hat in the ring again. And then we have Perlina McGaw Lumsden, who has thrown her hat in the ring once again. In Georgetown South, that would be Barbara Connolly, who is the incumbent, and she's up against Alric Lindsay. Okay, they're going head to head, and it's a war in the South. Okay, and so everybody's pulling out all the stops. Get your information, do your research, do your diligence. Do not act like this is not your problem. This is your country. It is your problem. Make your decisions. Georgetown North, we have Joey Hugh, who is the incumbent, and we also have Johan Moxham going up against him. Johan was in the studio the other day, very passionate about the country, very verbal, don't care. Gonna tell you like it is. Basically, could just tell you this is I'm gonna call it as he sees it. Um, Taking absolutely no prisoners. Stood up for the port issue. Was able to get some stuff changed based on that. And so, throwing his hat in the ring and saying, "Hey, I will do the same thing for the country overall." Joey Hugh, nice guy, for real. I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody, right? Because that's not even necessary. But there you go. Do your research, find out the information about all these people that are expecting to be representing you. All right, let's go to Red Bay. We have the incumbent is our actual premier, who will not be the premier next time if he is successful in any event because it's a two-term limit for premier. But that's already been established. Like I said before, the Honorable Roy McTaggart is kind of tagged to be the next premier because he's now the leader of the Progressive Party in the event that they get voted in. And up against the premier Alden McLaughlin is Sammy Jackson. And so that, let's say war. That's what I'm calling all of this. But I see a lot of signs all over the place for meetings and yard meetings or manifesto meetings and stuff. Go to those, hear about it, get the information for sure. Mentioned prospects already, and so now let's go to Savannah will be the no incumbent. This is a new person. Absolutely will be a new person that's coming in. So we're going to definitely have two new people for sure, because there are no incumbents in two areas, and Savannah's one of them. And who's going in is Heather Bodden, who used to be an MLA. So she has a record that you can look at. She has a record of when she was in Parliament, but also during the time that she hasn't been in Parliament. It's not going to be hard to find out what she was doing, what she was successful with or not. That's not going to be difficult because she does have that the public information. Going up against her is Malcolm Eden. And Malcolm Eden, as everybody would know, he is the son of Anthony Eden, who would have been the incumbent, but he's decided not to go. So, you know, uh, we know Anthony Eden been in politics for 20 plus years, right? Very familiar with Mr. Eden. And his son now has decided, I'm going to go ahead and run. Unfortunately, it just shouldn't be, okay, that was my dad. Here's me, put me in. No, that should not be the case. It should be that you are standing on your own. What will you be able to represent? I hear he has very strong views, strong arguments, strong has just strong plans. And so given the opportunity to be heard, to go out and listen, do the research, get some information on him, as well as Gina Williams. I have seen Gina busy on Facebook, visiting door to door. Let me tell you, Gina is all about girl power, and she has thrown herself in the ring and said God has given her the word to go for it. So, you know what? There's lots of opportunities to find out about these three people in Savannah. And so when you see them, talk to them. But I'll also suggest to the people who are out there expecting your vote, if someone sees you and they say, "Can we talk?" Don't say, "Call my office and set up an appointment." I heard this is happening too. So you might have just lost the vote right there. And I know you're busy. And I know sometimes it's unrealistic, but trust me, people do not want to hear that. So just be careful with saying that. I've heard that a couple of times that people have lost somebody's vote just by saying, "Call my office and set up an appointment," when they were straight in the person's face and they could have just chatted with them for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's it. Could have just said, "You know what? Let me just give them 3 minutes of my time." Because is it worth it to have lost the vote based on that? So the game of politics is a serious game, and it's a give your whole life to this country game for 4 years. Trust me. And I hope everybody who's interviewing for this job is very aware that that is exactly it. And as you just heard what I said, that's exactly what it is. They're interviewing for a job. and we are the people that are interviewing them. Okay. And so they are trying to get hired for a job that is very, very, very important. It's very, very, very serious. So don't you not take it serious, because they should be taking it serious. Okay. So when someone says, can I talk to you, you got a couple of minutes, go ahead and give that to them, because you might lose out and that would not be worth it. In Newlands, we have the incumbent Alva Suku up against Wayne Panton, who was in the Parliament, House of Parliament, as well as he was a minister. We also have Raul Gonzalez Jr., who had thrown his hat in the ring in 2017, back trying to get that vote this time again. Look at the track record, right? It's right there. All very, very good guys, good men, great people. Then we have Roydell Carter, also, who has thrown his hat in the ring. So there you have it, right? You know what? It has come to the end of the show, and so I will not labor you anymore. I want to wish you a happy, happy Easter, a wonderful weekend. Wish you the opportunity to spend some nice, great time with your family, with the people that you love. Stay safe and do whatever you got to do in moderation. Take care of yourself, take care of the people that love you and that you love. And take some time for to give back, and spend some time with some people in the community as you relax and refresh yourself and get some sand, some salt, some sea, feed your body, and go to church. Yeah, that's usually when people like to get dressed up and go to church during this time. It's such a really nice time to go to church. And we shall be back on Straight Talk, and we will continue this conversation as we try to just break down this whole politics thing and give you some information. But remember, this is your choice, and do not give it away. Do not sell it, and do not give it away. Okay, be very, very vigilant, and think and vote wisely when the time comes. But we shall be back with you on Straight Talk. This is your Drive at Five show, and this is Catherine Tyson. I'm signing off, and I will talk with you again next Tuesday. Take care. Have a great long weekend.